Ask Fain to please come to the stage and take the right. Do I need to introduce Fain? I don't think so. All right? But I will introduce the other panelists. Dr. Letitia Addison, if Dr. Letitia Addison can come to the stage. Dr. Letitia Addison is a tertiary level educator, statistician, and researcher specializing in building statistical and mathematical models for sustainability. She holds a PhD in mathematics from the University of the West Indies. She has more than a decade of experience lecturing in mathematics and statistics, both at undergraduate and postgraduate levels. She's the Women in Data Science Trinidad and Tobago Ambassador and actively supports women in STEM initiatives in the Caribbean. Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Letitia. Also joining us will be Dr. Phaedra Mohammed. She is a computer science lecturer in the Department of Computing and Information Technology at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. Her research focuses on the use of artificial intelligence applied to education and adding intelligent behavior to educational learning environments. She is also co-lead of the Bright Star Project, which aims to bridge reading instruction gaps experienced by young children in the Caribbean. Welcome, Dr. Phaedra Mohammed. And finally, we have Ebony de Leon. She's been with the Guardian Group, who we had somebody from yesterday, if you remember the private sector session. For over 4 years. During that period, she has built a highly skilled team of data scientists and data and business analysts who are developing innovative solutions and data-driven capabilities and business units around the Caribbean. Prior to this, Ebony managed the development of analytic solutions for Henry Schein in New York, and she attained an MBA and MS in project management from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. I will now hand you over to the moderator, Fain Richards.
Thank you so very much, Mark. And it's so wonderful to see not only a full room of adults, but also a full room of young people. Congratulations to all of the young people who took part today, and thank you so much for staying on in this session. And if the audience will indulge us at the end of this session, we would like to present the young people with their prizes for participating today. We have an example on stage of 3 young women. I would like to say 3 young women. I know that Dr. Addison is my age. We went to school together. So full disclosure, under 40. And I would like to tell the young people at the back of the room that these women, particularly the girls' schools who came to participate today, are examples of what is, not just what can be. And I hope that that's sort of the optimism that will thread along our discourse over the next half hour or so. So I'd like to start with Dr. Phaedra Mohammed to tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do through Bright Start and why it is that that helps young people like those at the back of the room get a fair shot at education.
Sure, thanks for having me. So the project focuses on literacy, and the aim is to use AI and speech-enabled technologies to help children who are struggling to read within the primary school age. The idea is that the way that we speak, the tone that we speak in our accent, our vocabulary, it's all unique and it's specific to our region. So if we produce software for our region by people within our region, it's highly likely it's going to be more successful. There have been studies that show that when we try to import software from different regions, there's always a mismatch. So this tool is meant to listen to a child read, diagnose any problems, speak to them in a language and an accent that they are familiar with, and then give them feedback like a coach. That's essentially it in a nugget.
Letitia, we're talking throughout the day about algorithms, about built-in bias, and we're speaking about Dr. Mohammed's project with the region, with our accents, with the way that we speak. How does that bias play out when it comes to women who are trying to get into the data science space? What are the barriers that you've seen them, or perhaps you yourself as a statistician in this space now, have had to experience?
Oh, thank you, Fain, for that question. It's really interesting. The usual bias, I think, would be that we would encounter the STEM fields being mostly male-dominated, and hence, most of the time, you would see the males excel in those arenas. However, I think we also, as females, place our own biases on ourselves. We feel a lot of imposter syndrome. We tend to feel that we don't compare, and in that sense, we feel that we can't live up to the same potential. And I think in the space that we have now, we have the opportunity to really, especially in the digital age, there are so many tools, so many technical certifications that you can achieve. And I believe in that sense, we are able to now understand that we have the ability to break those biases because there's a lot more support coming out for this arena for women.
Can you flesh that out a little bit in terms of what some of the maybe self-imposed limitations women may put on themselves? And it's not just women. I think yesterday for the morning show, we were talking about how it starts with children, with how we treat girls and boys differently from a young age. What are some of those barriers that start off at that young stage, and then how does that progress into barriers we impose on ourselves as young women?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it's typical. I mean, usually from the young ages, boys would tend to be more, given more tech-like toys, building, Legos, that sort of thing. Girls would probably be more into beauty, fashion, dolls. And, you grow up with that sense that I wonder if I could, I would like to say I was always very into math since I was young. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I was also very intimidated because I felt like the boys probably were smarter. And in some sense, at this age, I think I still do feel that. So I'm being very open that I still struggle with that as well. But I think that in growing, in probably changing the paradigm now, what we have to recognize is that we can all achieve similar things if we just have a growth mindset. And it's not about being in one space, this is for boys, this is for girls. It's really about understanding if you really have a passion that you can, put yourself in that space, and there are opportunities to be able to grow and to, be able to do what you really want to do.
Ebony, in leading a team of data scientists and data and business analysts, you are in a position to be able to identify where barriers may be in your team's way, especially if some members of your team are women. Talk about what you can do in a position of that kind of power and leadership to break those barriers down.
Yeah, I think, a big part of it has to do with the confidence that we instill in both the women and men within the team, right? My team is actually pretty large, and I'm proud to say that, 7 females, 10 men. So, for me, that is a success because it means that we're representing women within the space, and they're the ones who are actually building the models, building the algorithms, and we have that voice represented within. It's necessary, it's critical. Barriers that we face, I think, sometimes it's just making sure that we're heard. I think one of the things in data science, being in the industry, is that there's a misconception that you're totally on the academic side and the technical side, and that's not true. When you're applying these models in industry, part of what you have to be is a good salesperson. You have to be able to understand context. I heard some of the other speakers talking about, being in the space and being able to understand the business. That's critical. There are translator roles, analytics translator roles, because you have to be able to understand not just how to build a model, but how does this relate in context to the business that you actually have? Because if they don't speak to each other, you're not solving problems. You're not giving, decision-making capabilities. So it's very important that you make sure that the young people, the females, males within the team, they're all enabled, that they have the right tools and skills to be able to address all of it, not just, build a model. So those are kind of things that we enable for them. We make sure that they're confident, that they can present, that they can ask the right questions, that they know how to, handle different people within the business so that they can make a contribution that's very positive.
And that's a lot of impetus that we're putting on the individual to try and, be ready for the opportunity. No self-doubt, remove the self-imposed barriers. Yeah. What can workplaces and employers do to create that space for equitable progress, equitable opportunities?
Well, for us, when we started our program, we did it as, building it upon an internship. So we partnered with the university, and we had like a pipeline of students that were coming in. We were hiring a student pretty much every 6 months, because we knew we wanted to build this team, and we had to make sure that we were bringing in the best talent, people who were bright stars and could handle the requirements of the role. And so it was important for us to make sure that we understood, where are we going to be getting this pipeline of talent from, and then making sure that once they're in, how are we developing this talent, right? And I would not lie to you guys, this is not something where we just had all the answers and we got in and boom, everything fell into place perfectly. No, it was trial and struggle, and making sure that we had the support from the larger organization, because that is one of the challenges that you have to make sure not just the leadership who wants this, but every level within the organization that we're going to interact with, that they see the value in it too. They understand the value that it could potentially bring, because it's big. And as someone said, our culture and our mindset is not really very data forward. It's not, we don't see data as an asset, we see it as a byproduct. So one of the challenges is to help all of those who we interact with at all levels see data and see the ability to use this data to either have solutions or bring data-driven, decision-making, make that possible. You have to be able to bring the organization along with you. So there are a lot of different elements that go into it, and I think our company has done a really good job of supporting that, and they have been really, forward-thinking in terms of, well, how do we keep developing this team, giving them exposure, making sure that they can answer the questions of the company as well. I think we've done a pretty good job in making that happen so far.
Great. Phaedra, when young women are looking to get into data science, as a young woman yourself who would have had that exploratory phase of can I, should I, where can I, how can I, what are some of the barriers that they face that can turn them away, that can make them redirect?
That's a tough question to answer. It's individualized. So, unfortunately, tech is the area that many people go to when they're not too sure where to go. And we tend to have a lot of that, I would say, loose direction. Something that helps to, I guess, make it a bit easier is to keep reading. And within our field specifically, it's often said, well, I know you said data science, but I often blow up onto computer science, because data science is an intersection of not just computing, but statistics, psychology, education, philosophy, many different areas, depending on where the actual focus is. If somebody wants to get into this area, I would say start with what you like, because you can tack on technology to pretty much anything that's interesting to you. And then once you keep reading and once you keep updated within a particular area, it becomes clear where the trends are headed. Not sure if that answers the question, though.
Absolutely. So then there would have been mentors that all three of you women would have had along the way who created that space for you to feel safe to take that step forward. Talk to me a little bit about your individual experiences, and then translate that experience that you had with what you think are some of the best practices others who are in this space can use to create that way forward for young women who want to come up as data scientists. Leticia, I'll start with you.
Well, mentors. I would say that in this field, it's really an emerging field. I mean, I'm a statistician by training, and you could also say I'm something of a mathematician as well. But when I was completing my statistics master's, data science actually came out as a master's at the university. I would say that one of the biggest mentors I've had to date, and I think he's here somewhere, is Professor Hussein. Honestly, I would tell you, I'm really shocked I'm sitting here right now. I'm the most introverted person Thane would have known from school. I was more about books. I know for the students, I was always about books. Thane was in the media. Thane had the come out and speak to everybody, and I'm really shocked I'm here at this point. And it's really because I felt supported. And in terms of Professor Hussein and TT Lab, which is a data science group, it really gave me a lot of support and motivation, confidence, because I felt a little bit like a loner in my arena at the time. And in that way, I was able to become the Women in Data Science Ambassador for Trinidad through the Stanford University, the larger organization. And it's because of that support, and I think that has been crucial, because I recognize now that I have a voice where I can actually look at students and tell them, you have such a great ability, you can go forward and actually, propel yourself in the field. A lot of the students right now and young people feel very intimidated, and I will say I understand the intimidation. It's present. However, what you really need to do is, I like to say, make friends with your fears and really find persons. So as I said, Professor Hussein and a number of women I have encountered as well internationally. And what we did this year and what I really intended to do from my personal experience was, I still feel intimidation. And I opened up that conversation in a virtual space to be able to share with others that we all feel certain levels of imposter syndrome, certain levels of intimidation, and we need to build that emotional support. It's not only about the technical skills, actually, it's also about a lot of emotional intelligence. Some of us go through burnout. I have gone through burnout. I have wondered if I should continue. So it's not just about just aiming for the stars, but also be very mindful and have a lot of self-awareness. And in that sense, I think it's really a holistic approach. I could go on all day. But yes, so that's really what I think from my experience.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that so vulnerably, because I think it is important for people to hear that it's not necessarily a straight shot journey forward, that you do have those second guessing moments, but it's really, you know, with the support of mentors, with the sort of inner strength that you have, with understanding that you have that, you know, that right to access that opportunity equally, that you can propel yourself forward. Phaedra, I'll take the question from the same angle in terms of what positive experiences you had with mentors who helped break down barriers that may have stood in your way, and then what advice you would take from that experience to give people on how they can do the same.
Yeah, well, I can think of one particular scenario, and this is coming out of my PhD. So my advisor, well, the external examiner had to come to Trinidad, and certain things happened, and I was not able to go through with the defense, but he still came. He still came. This is a professor out of Yale, multi-million-dollar company out of the US, and he came. And he sat with me and he said, listen, I know this is happening, just pause, and when you're well enough, we're gonna come back at this. So I said, okay. Flash forward a couple months. He came back again with a broken clavicle. He fell off a bicycle, he's very active. And he came to Trinidad with a broken clavicle, arm in a cast. He could have said, no, you know what, I'm not coming here. He came back a second time. And he pulled me aside and he said, so I was overwhelmed. I'm like, this person came here not just once, twice. So I'm asking him, so he said, you know, I wouldn't come here if it wasn't worth it. And just to hear that from somebody of that magnitude was enough. And it wasn't a female, it was a man, right? A white man. And that's pretty much the landscape of computing if you look at the demographics worldwide. So to get that reassurance from somebody was extremely gratifying, not only because of where he has come in terms of his particular stature in the field of AI applied to education, but just from the perspective of his kindness. So what I would say to people who have the opportunity to offer that same sort of support is just be kind. Mm-hmm. You would not believe how far a simple word can go. And I'll give you another example. Just like Letitia, I've had so many doubts going through my trajectory because, again, you second guess yourself, well, do I belong here? Am I good enough? Can I compete? And, well, I have 2 children of my own, so motherhood throws an entirely different twist on anybody who is in a technologically advancing field. Mm-hmm. So at one point, I was like, you know what? Why am I doing this? And this professor out of, I think it was Italy, she works in agent-based learning. So I looked at her and I said, they invited me to this particular meeting that you don't get to go to unless you're specially invited. So again, I was like, why is this happening? It was likely because of that same professor. He kind of paved the way. And then I asked her, well, why are you still, what is in it for you? She's a professor of computing. So she said, you know, it's hard, but when my little girl looks at me and says, that's my mom, that's a professor, and she is the person who I look up to, she said that's enough. And funny enough, you guys pulled me on the television yesterday. Got endless spam because of that from my students and my mom and everybody else. And people are sending me this clip, and I'm like, just delete it. And and in the background, I'm hearing my little girl, I saw you on the television. I'm like, why did you look at it? She's like, because you're on the television. So this kind of thing, you think your mentors come from higher ups, but many times they come from the humblest little spots. And it's those things that really help, whether you're male or female, it really helps.
Thank you, Phaedra. And as a fellow mom, I sympathize. Ebony, your particular standout experience with someone who opened the door for you to take that positive step forward, and then how you think that's a good baseline advice for people who have that position of power and may not know that they can make that difference in someone else's career.
Yeah, I think for me, my mentor, one of my mentors, I should say, is my former boss at my company in New York. And you know, this was the first time I was really getting into the analytics space and really understanding what it would take on, you know, a global level to succeed. And she was just such, you know, she was exceptional, you know, and she led our team, and it was a small team. And you know, sometimes I think, as these women attest to, in this space, we're not sure if we belong and if we fit in, and that imposter syndrome hits hard. And to see her with no fear and complete confidence go into board meetings and present, and you know, I was her second in line, and she took me with her. She did not hesitate to open these doors and let me see behind the curtain and understand what it took to operate at these levels and have success at these levels, and hear the questions that these members of the board ask, and give you, you know, that you know, authenticity that she came with in terms of how she presented herself, what she knew. You know, she shared with me things about, you know, how she prepared and, you know, studied and got ready for these types of interactions, because they would come hard with questions, and you know, I would be there like, whoa, how can she handle this? And you know, it's interesting, because now that I'm in a lesser, you know, I don't have international boards, but I'm in a position where I do have to speak to the board, and I do deal with leadership on a regular basis. And I see that I bring that confidence, and I'm able to answer the questions. And you know, if I don't know, I say I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's interesting in an industry or in a space where a lot of times men always know. So I will say to the women, don't be afraid to say you don't know. It doesn't mean that you can't figure it out. Just understand where you can find the source to figure it out. And then you just say, you know what, that's a great question. I'll get back to you on that. Let me research it, and I'll find the answer for you. And that's okay. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to come with all the answers. And I think sometimes we see men operate, and you think that's what's necessary. I believe in authenticity. I believe you bring your full self to the page. So if it is that I am not able to answer a question, that's what I will tell you. But I will get an answer for you. I promise you that, and it will be very thorough. Right? And so I see for my team, you know, the young people that I have coming up behind me, and I make sure that I mentor them. I have 16 of them, and I make time for all of them. And that is not easy, because I don't have that kind of time always. But I do it because I understand that they are our future leaders. And I impart everything. I impart things about the work that we do, the other skills that you have to have, how you negotiate salaries, how you understand your value, how do you make sure that you're bringing your best self, how to present. I give them a full workup of what you need to do. And anyone who has come to me and asked me to mentor them, I've done it. Do I have the time to do all of this all the time? No. But that being said, is it critical? Yes. And because they are going to be better than me in the future, I want to know that what I'm imparting on them, that little bit that they will take from me is going to positively impact what they give to the future. So for me, it is essential. It's a no-brainer if I have to do it late at night, if I have to do it, you know, and sacrifice certain things to go later to make sure that they get that time and they get that influence, I will do it because I see it as important. And I also know what it was for me to get somebody to do that for me. So, and the one other thing I would just say to all the young people, mentorship is interesting. You have to do your part in mentorship. It's not just that you depend on someone and they do all the heavy lifting. There is an onus on us as those who are seeking mentors to put in the work as well. Come prepared, come ready, come open-minded, you know, come with your questions. And one mentor may not be enough. You have different mentors for different purposes, right? And as you move through life, your demands for mentorship change. So make sure that you understand that this is something that is going to evolve as you change within your career, and that is okay. People serve different purposes at different points, but just be open to it. Do not be afraid to ask. People have reached out to me on LinkedIn, and they're like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Yes, I still do it. So to all of you who, you know, especially the young ones who may not know how to, just be brave, write the email, step away from it, breathe, and then click send. And I promise you, you will be surprised. A lot of times you will get a response. You know, so I encourage young people to definitely seek out mentorship as they move through the world and as they want to come up in these different spaces.
Thank you so very much. I'd like to say thank you so much to Ebony, to Phaedra, to Leticia for coming and sharing your very personal stories, but also sharing words of wisdom that I hope particularly the young people in the room can take, but also those of us who are in positions where we are leaders, where we have the power to make a difference for those who work with us, for us, around us, so that we can create these spaces, recognizing some of the barriers that women in particular may face in any career, but particularly in getting into a male-dominated field like data science, so that you can, knowing that that is a prospect that these women may face, try to mitigate by doing what you can in your organizations to open pathways and create spaces. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
The irony of a session to promote women in technology, and we have to cut them short. There is irony there, all right? So I apologize, ladies, but the students, they have to get on the way back to their home schools and their home districts. So we're cutting you a little short. I apologize again. And I apologize to everyone else for the irony of cutting the ladies short when we are trying to promote this. So thank you very much. I will now ask the panel to leave the stage. And I thank the students across there for being very patient with us, all right? And for waiting for your prize giving. Yeah? Yes. So today we had the Code Jam tournament across there. There were 21 schools, I believe, participating today, which is amazing. I think some people have left, which is why we had to cut them short. We didn't want more people to leave. We wanted more people to see. I see Mr. Ramratan. He is finally shown back up after visiting the bar when his alma mater won. We'll come to who his alma mater is. I think I might have jumped the gun. Today we had presentation, College Chaguanas. You all can make some noise when I introduce you. St. Joseph's Convent, Providence Girls Catholic School, Fatima College, Naparima Girls High School, Holy Faith Convent, Trinity College, Tranquility Government Secondary School, Astor Girls College, Charleville, Marabella North Secondary, Rio Claro, my God, Rio Claro West Secondary, Debe High School, St. Augustine Girls High School, Lakshmi Girls Hindu College, Hillview College, Holy Name Convent, Port of Spain, St. Stephen's College, Parvati Girls Hindu College, Barapur West Secondary School. Importantly, very importantly, we also had Bishop's High School from Tobago, coming from all the way to Tobago. Yeah? I think many speakers in your absence have been talking about you all as the future, all right? No pressure, all right? So I will now ask Dr. Michelle Williams from, brain freeze, Harris. Michelle Williams is somebody else. Michelle Harris, to please come to the stage. Today's prizes were generously given by PAHO WHO. PAHO WHO, if you don't know, is well, the WHO part of it anyways, is a UN agency that promotes good health in Trinidad and Tobago and in several other countries. I will ask Dr. Harris to come to the stage to present the prizes to the winning teams. And the RC. Can the RC, Joanna Kazana, please come to the stage as well? So we cut the women short, but we have 2 women in leadership positions in sustainable development on the stage as well. So girls, take note, all right? And boys, you need to catch up, huh? Yeah?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. He did ask me if I wanted to give a few words, and it's difficult for me to encounter a group of young people and not give them words of encouragement. I'm particularly pleased with our ladies who were in the panel session before. Thank you so very much for sharing your experiences, and maybe it was a good thing that the students were here so they can hear, so that the young ladies, as they sat across there, can hear what has happened, how you have maneuvered through your journey in the world of technology as females. Indeed, I understand there were 20 schools that participated today, and we have 3 that have come out on top. You didn't tell me how we're going to do this, but we do have the names of the three yes, leading schools. So in 3rd place, we have St. Stephen's College. Could a representative come forward?
And the team?
I think we have some names as well. Mark Muradan.
Yes, so I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, yeah. All right. So from St. Stephen's College, we have 4 students. Yeah. Mark Muradan, Karina Singh, Jordan Ramkisoon, and Jessica Haricharan. Give them a round of applause. Yeah, and Dr. Harris is asking, does each person really get one? Yes, each person gets their own laptop as a prize. Yes? Yes? Yes, right? Yeah, all right. So from the next school, 2nd place, Marabella North Secondary. Representing Marabella North, Alex Ramdath, Ricardo Bernard, and Stephen Dippanarine. I hope I spelled your name. There's an A after the Fellas, you can move with a little more energy than that. Come on. I hope you weren't playing the robot so slow. Excellent. Mr. Ramratsan, I'm going to invite you on the stage for this last one. You don't have to give anything across, but just because I remember you came in this morning and you were boasting about your alma mater. All right? Mr. Ramratsan, come on, quick, man. The winning team. Yes? Hailing all the way. I'm from Chaguanas, so this is a source of pride for me too. The winning team, Presentation College Chaguanas. Represented by John Patrick, Javier Blanche and Terrell Nabi. Wait, you all don't move yet. Can I also ask their teacher and their principal to join them on stage, please? Please, the teacher and principal of Presentation College, if you can come across to join your charges. And to take some credit for your accomplishments in educating these bright minds. Was this your principal? All right. Well, Dindial, you can join it. Go here, move across. Yeah. Before the students and the teacher leave the stage, the others are free to depart. Before, can I ask the representative from Telios to come to the stage as well? Today's tournament was sponsored by Telios. Can we have Telios? And Mr. Chen from Huawei, because I understand Huawei was also a sponsor of this event. Yes? Please come to the stage and take a picture with the students. Thank you very much. Does anyone from the school, one of the students, would you like to give a few words about what the experience was like? Shall I put one of you in the spotlight? Yes. Leadership.
Well, hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Xavier Blash. As you guys know, I'm a member of the team Presentation College Chaguanas. As you guys know, we won the competition today, but winning is just the end result. There was a lot of trial and error that went through the process, a lot of getting to know the people on the opposing teams throughout this today that honestly made this experience. Today was a very nerve-wracking day because sometimes things didn't work like the way we wanted them to. There was a little trouble in some matches. But overall, I believe that we got through our differences, we got through our challenges, and we did the best that we could have done, and we were gratefully rewarded with it. I'm so glad that I got to experience this today with my amazing team. They truly helped. All of us helped out, and we got a result that I'm proud with. I know our school will be proud with. Our parents will be proud with. And honestly, it was a very gratifying experience. And I encourage anyone else from the other schools, those lower sixes, to participate in the competition next year. And I hope for similar results as well next year. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one last time presentation, college Shoguners. Thank you very much, guys. And safe travels home to all the students, especially the ones that are going all the way down south and to Tobago and flying across back to Tobago. Did Mr. Ramratan join in that chant? I don't know. And the young student at the end there, I think what he said is a metaphor for Trinidad and Tobago, all right? You know, we have to, they tried hard, everything didn't work their way, but they persevered, and in the end, they came out victorious, but they acknowledged that there was a team effort, and together they accomplished something, and I think that's a lesson for us to learn here. So it brings us to the last session in today's Big Data Forum, which